Good evening, guys, and happy Thursday to all of your sunshiny faces. This week I've just been kind of off, like, watching movies, and like I feel like that was kind of how it started, like, over this last weekend. I like didn't have much to do because, again, too, my dad was working on Saturday, and like there wasn't any, I mean, there was a Pro Bowl on, but like I caught bits and pieces of it kind of, but I didn't really watch that much. So I watched a lot of movies over the weekend, and it just ended up kind of carrying over, I feel like, into the week, where I just kind of ended up watching a lot of TV because there's a lot of movies that, as I was, you know, like I said, kind of scrolling through, that this weekend I didn't finish, and there's a lot of new ones that were added to, like, I don't know if they were necessarily new, but, you know, like, just new movies that I hadn't noticed were on, like, you know, again, certain streaming services. So as I'm like flipping through, I'm like, oh, look, and I can watch that, and I can watch that, and we have that, you know, movie and stuff like that, ones that I didn't notice before. So I ended up, like I said, kind of being a little bit more lazy this week. I didn't get quite as much done, and again, too, like, it took me a little bit longer. Like, I think I finished my Meyer list on Tuesday. I didn't finish my Jewel or Tony's and Caputo's haul until today. But like, that's the nice thing, is that although I plan on doing it, like, again, to the Meyer list and stuff like that on Monday, I always have that extra day, since like we don't try and go until Wednesday, so I always have that extra kind of day as like a cushion if I don't do it. But I didn't have anything going on, so it wasn't like I needed to like have that extra cushion, because it was like, oh, we have this thing going on, or we have to go here, or, you know, we have like a lot of errands to run, or, you know, stuff's planned or something like that. It was like, I was just lazy this week. Having, like, you know, if we go to the store on Wednesday, then I have that Tuesday as the cushion time as well. The same with like Jewel and Tony's and Caputo's. My dad will normally go to Tony's and Caputo's on Friday, and then on you know, Saturday, but lately it's been Sundays when we normally go to Jewel and All Day. So I do have that like extra kind of cushion time. I just told you guys how, like, I don't like waiting until the last minute to do it. So like, especially too, I don't like being like, oh my goodness, it's Friday night and I have to finish my Jewel list to go to the store tomorrow in the morning, you know, like that kind of thing. So again, too, I like that I have that one extra day, like today, if I didn't finish yesterday or whatever. But again, I ended up kind of using that extra cushion time this week, when, again, too, I didn't really need to. There's no purpose to it. But I did finish those, and I also did edit today, and I also got to dishes today. So that was good, because I also told you guys too in yesterday's vlog how I have not really been sticking to my planner very much. I actually didn't set my planner out at all for this week, and I feel like that's also contributing to my less than productive week that I've had. And also too, maybe it is a little bit the weather. I'm not gonna lie, we had beautiful weather this week, for the most part. Today was actually warm-ish. I actually think it broke a record. It was like 56 degrees or 57, I think, is a high today. It was almost 60 degrees out, but it was also raining like this afternoon. So my dad ended up getting back from the football. They had like weightlifting, and he ended up coming back, and then ended up going, and we grilled tonight. And so, but he was home a little bit later, so I think he didn't like start grilling until maybe around 5 o'clock or so, and it was actually raining at that time. So when he brought the burgers in, they were actually all soaking wet, because it was like downpouring outside. And it was funny too, because like when he started the grill, it wasn't raining at all, and then Jack came inside and he's like, oh, it's downpouring, like he was taking the garbage out or something. He's like, it's downpouring out there, and I was like, Dad's outside grilling. And like, I was trying really hard too to schedule like when we were gonna grill this week, because I knew it was gonna be really nice, and I was like, let's take advantage of being able to cook outside. Well, it's like 50 degrees like today and yesterday and stuff like that. And so and I think even I mean, it was like warmer too throughout the week, but like today and yesterday too, I know were like supposed to be really, really warm. So today, even though it was really warm, again, it was raining outside. So we did end up doing that though. But I also feel like maybe that's why too, like, it's just from like the warm weather. Like, honestly, I probably could have been in shorts, and like that's why too, a couple days I've been wearing tank tops, but I've been wearing like pants too. So I feel like I could have been wearing like capris or shorts or something like that, because I just also feel like I've been laying around more, but also too, just I feel very warm. And I told you guys too how the room that I am in this house, it is one of the most interior rooms in the house. So and I have my door closed, and it's not that big of a room, it's kind of small. So like when the furnace is going, my room is always the hottest room. Like, honestly, you walk into my room compared to the rest of the house, and it's like a 10-degree difference. So obviously the furnace is still trying to work and, you know, kick out heat to the rest of the house, but my bedroom is like way too hot in here. So yeah, and like I said too, it's like I can't be comfortable either too. Like, I have to be in shorts in order to be comfortable. And like I said, it's not like the house is like 80 degrees. It's like the house is like a comfortable, you know, I don't know, average temperature. But my actually probably was almost not as warm warm outside, but like the furnace probably really didn't have to go almost at all during the day today. I'm kind of assuming that like tonight it's going to. Tomorrow's supposed to be kind of warm too, and then I think by over the weekend it's supposed to get cold again, and then we're gonna get back into like the 30s and stuff like that. But again too, that doesn't help me because it most likely means the furnace will be running more, in which case my bedroom will be like warmer than it even has been this week. But anyways, but guys, the one thing that I have to say I'm so sad about, because I told you guys too how, okay, I've been watching a whole bunch of movies, how I have like other TV shows and series and stuff like that that I'm trying to rewatch and everything like that, and I never end up finishing watching like what I start, I guess. I've never completely finished some of the stuff. I will say though, like Grey's Anatomy, I've watched that all the way through, and that is a lot of seasons. There's like, I don't even know how many seasons there are, but in high school I ended up completely binging it because it was on Netflix back then. We had Netflix, and I was like probably senior year of high school or something like that. I finally got all caught up and was actually like watching it live on TV for like, I don't know, a handful of years after high school too. It's still going, and I have not watched it in a while now, so I'm like, every single time I think about it, I'm like, I should go and rewatch it again from the beginning. And I was like, no, because it's like 10 years, or I don't even know, more than 10 years. It's like 15 years probably plus or something like that. Maybe even more than that, maybe close to 20 years, honestly. Yeah, actually I want to say it's probably getting close to, if not like 20 years almost, somewhere around there, because I think it came out around the same time Lost did, and that came out when Jack was little, and he's now 18 years old, almost 19 years old. So I want to say that I don't know how I know that Grey's Anatomy came out the same time Lost did, but I remember them, it ran like kind of, like, I don't know what seasons it was, but like they ran kind of consecutively or close to it, both of those series. And I do remember distinctively that that was, you know, like I said, that was when Jack was born, was around the time that Lost came out. And so I know for a fact that it's at least close to 19 years. So like I said, we're probably somewhere around there, right? There's no way. I'm never going to catch up and rewatch from the beginning, but I always have this hope that I will someday be able to like rewatch it and then catch back up and be back, you know, like even though I watched everything, like there's so much stuff that happens, I'm like, I just want to rewatch it again. And like I said, it's such a long, it's like literally like a soap opera. I mean, when it's something that's been running for that long. But anyways, that's besides the point. So I start all these different, you know, again, the intention of either rewatching stuff that I've already watched or starting new series and stuff like that. And I will say I have finished some stuff. I did watch all of I Love Lucy, and like again too, I've seen, I finished like a handful of things. Like I said, Grey's Anatomy, I had watched the entire thing all the way up to like the current point, and then I'd watched it like, you know, the live episodes. So I can do it. The problem is that I never want to, especially when I know it's like the end of like a series. I never want to finish it. And so my favorite series, my absolute favorite, hands down favorite television series ever. I've probably watched it, at least the first season, probably a good like, probably over, I would say it probably, I'm pushing close to 10 times. Probably at least well over 5, like somewhere in between the 5 to 10 range, and probably closer to 10. At least the first season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That is my hands down favorite TV show ever. And it was funny because I was actually watching Mona Lisa Smiles earlier today, and then I was kind of like, you know what, this is kind of like the same feels a little bit of, you know, like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. So I was like, I'm gonna just finish watching the last 2 episodes that I hadn't watched. And again too, that's the whole point, is that it's always so sad. It's always like, you know, because you know it's the end of a series, you just don't want to. It's not like the last episode of the season, it's the end of the series. They had 5 seasons, and like I said, I've watched it so many times. But what I did find out though is that because it's produced by Amazon, a lot of times the series that are like by the streaming services, so for example like Stranger Things, which I also did check this as well, and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, a lot of times they do have them dubbed for different languages. And since I'm learning German, I've actually been, I've watched it a handful of times through with German subtitles, because you don't always get access to like other language subtitles, but it really helps if you are trying to learn a language to like watch whatever you're watching either with the subtitles specifically, which I do, and I think that has helped my reading in German way better. Like I think my reading fluency is a lot better than my speaking because I don't feel like I pronounce things right. English pronunciation sometimes is also really bad, so that doesn't help, but trying to do it in another language is even harder. So like I said, I feel like that I struggle in. So I want to rewatch it one more time so I can watch it all the way through from beginning to end, 5 seasons with the German subtitles. Then I can also watch it with the dubbed over German audio so that I can listen to it and then also have the English subtitles so I can kind of like listen. And because I've seen it, like I said, that will probably be close to the 10th time that I've watched it. I can almost recite it, so I definitely will know what they're saying and be able to watch it. I found that it's tougher to do in something that you haven't watched or haven't watched often or you don't know a lot of. Like it would be really easy if it was like a kids like movie, and I don't know if Disney has also to like dubbed audio for different languages, again too, if that's what you're learning. But I found, like I said, with just like reading it in subtitles has helped me a lot in being able to like learn, you know, a lot more in like, you know, again to the proper way of things that are phrased and like that kind of stuff too. And also it's interesting too because when I have learned a lot more, it's interesting like hearing phrases in English that are a little bit more like you know, like slang and stuff like that, actually how it translates into a different language. And because, you know, again too, it's like not even maybe proper English, and like how they translate it into another language is interesting. So I did this with Stranger Things, which is how I know also too like Netflix has it, and I did start watching a little bit of that with I think I watched the first like episode with German dubbed audio, so and with English subtitles, so that like I can watch, listen, kind of understand what's going on. And Stranger Things is something I've watched also too, probably at least like 2, maybe 3 times, probably at least 3 times or more maybe. So again too, if I watched it again, I might watch it and be able to, like I said, watch it with like German subtitles or audio, you know, dubbed audio or whatever. But I want to watch it just because, again too, I've seen it so many times, and since I can almost recite it in English, I feel like it would be very helpful in my German pronunciation and hearing it and being able to, you know, like understand, also trying to understand the pace, because again too, I can understand it if it's slow, somebody speaking to me in German but very slowly, and again too, I can speak it, it's my pronunciations I feel like are very, very not right. But my reading comprehension I think is fairly good, like especially too when I'm learning with my apps and stuff like that. I found that it's a lot better, like reading wise. I've been able to, like, I don't even really listen to like what they're saying, I just kind of like read and then like, you know, which I think is not what I should be doing. I should be trying to challenge myself and more listen to it instead of like, you know, reading it. But anyways, that's besides the point. I did finish it, which I was so scared and I was like so sad, and I was like, honestly though, I kind of want to rewatch it. The only way I'll be able to rewatch it was if I finished watching the last 2 episodes, because I wasn't going to do that to myself and be like, okay, let's just rewatch it again without watching the last 2 episodes. But I've done that with literally everything that I watch. I like don't watch the last 2 episodes because I'm like, no, I'm too sad that it's going to be over. I can't know how it ends. I just want to make up my own scenarios of how it's going to end, because it's always so sad. Like again too, like The Office, that is something also too that I did finish watching. That and Parks and Rec, I did watch all of those all the way through. But I like, I'll be honest, The Office, the last season, I think most people say not the best. But like, you know, so I don't know, I didn't have that same like emotional pull of it like being over and like kind of feeling sad that it was over, just because I didn't feel like it was the best last season. But like going back and rewatching it, like again too, like I'll catch episodes and stuff like that here and there. Like if it's on TV or whatever, and like watching it, I'll be like, oh, like that's so sad, like, you know, just because I know that it ends. But like, you know, and so going back and rewatching it, it's like, oh, like, you know, it's gonna end, or this is gonna happen, or like, you know, because you know what happens in the end and how things turn out and stuff like that. That's why I always get stuck with, like, sometimes it's also too not my intention to not watch the end of it or like the last season of something or whatever. It's like I kind of forget to, or like again too, I'll like binge it and then like not really watch it that often anymore, and then I don't end up like finishing it. So that's another problem I think I have. But also too, because if it is stuff that I really like, I just never want to see it end. So I'm just like, well, it doesn't have to end if I don't watch the very last episode of it or the last season or something like that. So this was one that, like I said, is probably my favorite series ever. To have it be over, officially for me, it's been over for a while. The last season came out sometime, I think, well, like 2023. So like, again, a handful of months ago, I think it came out. But it's, you know, like I just finished watching it now, and I'm kind of, like I said, a little bit sad that it's over, and it's sad that I finished watching it. But like, it was good. It was honestly like really good. I think the ending and stuff like that. I think the last season was a little weird because they did a lot of like flashbacky, flash forward kind of jumps. So it was a little different, but I get that they were like still trying to tell the story while still trying to show like what happens throughout like their lives and stuff like that, which I do think is really good. So like I said, I liked that, but I don't know, it's sad at the same time. I haven't given myself enough time to process it, and knowing that I will rewatch it probably again and again and again, it doesn't make it that sad for me. I'm like, it's still there. I can still rewatch it. But it was like a happy kind of ending too. Like it was fulfillment to like finish watching it, and also fulfillment for me for actually being able to finish watching something, you know, finally, without starting more TV series that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start this now too, and I'm gonna start this, which is why I was telling you guys too, it's been easier for me watching movies because I'll just finish that. I'll just sit there for the whole time and the movie will be over, and if there's a sequel or a prequel to it or something like that, then I can also watch that, and it still won't take me that long. But to watch like 5 seasons of a TV series, that's gonna take you a long time. And so, like I said, I don't have that kind of time all the time to be able to just sit there and binge for that long. I've rewatched it multiple times. I've only seen the last season just this one time. But the first season, like I said, I've probably seen it maybe about, we'll say about 8 times, probably, at least close to that. Like I said, it's probably one of my favorite series ever. But anyways, I'm gonna take a shower and go to bed. I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.